Okay, hello, friends and strangers. Thank you for visiting. It is my great pleasure to give you a little video today in regards to some books for overcoming colitis, Crohn's, IBS, digestive issues, what have you. You know, a lot of people get an illness and they go to their family doctor, like they should, if they're responsible and take action and look into things. But, you know, your doctor is a busy man or woman and, well, they know a lot, but they might not know everything. So I recommend people go out into the world and do a little research of their own. Buy some books. I like reading. I read a lot. So I was sick like 10 months ago. I got colitis, and I've been on a crazy health bender. And so part of that, since I couldn't really do much and I was laying around anyways, I got colitis. I lost over 20 pounds. I couldn't work for quite a while, at least 3 months. So I started watching videos and reading books. So I want to share today 3 books that really helped me. Well, the books didn't help me, but the information I gathered was useful. And once I took action, stopped eating certain things, well, that's what helped me. So, what else can I say? By the way, I'm Ryan Murdoch. This is my channel, Endless Journey. I'm going to be sharing all things healthy and self-development. Just getting going on some videos here. Okay, so you all ready to jump right in here? 3 books, here we go. Numero uno, okay, this book here, Eating Alive by Dr. Matsen, Natural Doctor, Prevention Through Good Digestion. I used to work at a health food store just for a little bit one winter, and I don't know if they sold this there or some other people are reading it, so I read this book long ago. I've actually read this book maybe like 3 or 4 times. I've repurchased it that many times too because I just like to read it every so often, and I forget, you know, I get off track and I feel like I learn all this stuff and I get in the rhythm and then I just forget. So, you know, this guy here, he lives in North Vancouver. His practice is there. I've actually been there. And this book it's not new. It's a few years old now. This is a very easy to read book. It's actually not very long. Everything in here is very easy to understand. And the thing that's unique about this book is it has all these like silly, funny illustrations. That cartoonist, his name is Nelson Dewey, you know. And so, you know, you read these books about digestion and they can be a bit serious, and I mean, you're reading it because you have some trouble with your health, but so these cartoons, they kind of lighten it up a bit. So anyways, what is this book about? This book is basically about proper food combining is the center, is like the purpose of this whole book. So you get going here, and in the early chapters, it's all the different organs in your digestive system, the stomach, the intestines, the liver, we got the blood, and then it talks about diet and, you know, just what happens down there in your body that we don't necessarily know about. And so it just talks about different foods we eat, how they influence us, and different, mostly combining of foods, amounts of foods. It goes on it charts out different foods for just different qualities of foods, like maybe alkaline, acid. There's a chart of like starches and proteins, which ones you can or cannot combine. And, you know, it's not that long of a book. It's an easy read. So I just want to say, I want to say 2 more things about this book. So the thing I remember most about this book is I remember a quote, and I couldn't find it, just flipped through it quickly, and it said, I don't know who he was quoting, Dr. Matsen, but he said, people of today's age, like our society now, cannot understand the correlation between well-being and lifestyle, just as early Africans couldn't understand the correlation between having sex and babies. And so it's just a funny way of saying that, you know, it's so crazy how we just driving around in a big rush, eating at fast food places, having drinks every weekend, smoking cigarettes, what have you. And we're baffled when we don't feel well. If you begin to think about this, it just gets crazier and crazier every day that you separate yourself a little bit from that. What else did I want to say about this book was, oh, I remember. A little metaphor I just always remember. It stayed in my head the whole time. It's the idea that our stomach and our enzymes, our acids, our digestive system, mostly in our stomach, it is our duty for the stomach to break down food, to make it able to be absorbed in our intestinal tract. So the stomach could be imagined as a fire, like a campfire or whatever. And early in the morning, you want to eat lightly, and then through the middle of the day, you can eat more, and then you want to let it fizzle out going into the evening by the time you go to sleep. So by creating that super hot fire, it's just burning like awesome, we could put a wet log on there in the middle of the day, and if our fire of our stomach is really working to its maximum, it should be able to cope with that. So that's the idea. That's the idea for proper food combining everything. So there you go. Eating Alive. There's another book, a book 2. I had that. It's a bit, it's a good book too, but this one here is the one you want to get. And that's for anybody, healthy or sick, anybody who wants to feel good. Love that. Still love it after 10 years. Okay, so because I got colitis, I was diagnosed with colitis. I was terribly suffering from colitis. I went on Amazon and I just want to see what is the most popular book on the subject, and one that came up to the top of the list. I don't know if it's the most popular, but it's a very popular book, Self-Healing, Colitis and Crohn's. Ooh, that's what I got. By David Klein, PhD. So he is also a natural doctor. So, you know, these books I'm recommending, and it will be true of the third one too, these aren't just some crazy hippies that just trying to make some money on the side. These are people who have studied in formal institutions for 4 or more years or whatever it takes to become a natural doctor. So it's really relevant to discredit their research here. So anyways, this one here was very popular. This fellow, David Klein, and you know, I read that like half a year ago, so I'm a little bit going on memory here. He was a young athlete. He was into, track and field type stuff. And he said he considered himself like a pretty healthy, energetic young guy. And he began to have troubles with his stomach. And it went downhill quite rapidly. And he had to drop out of school, and he couldn't work. And as the way he says it, I believe it's like 10 years or something, he was just completely removed from his life and society just because he suffered so badly with colitis. And at some point, his doctor, his gastroenterologist, that's the title for someone who specializes in the digestive system, somebody from the Western medicine niche. And So he was going to have his colon removed, which is what they do. That's their way of fixing things, and I guess it works for some people. And so this guy took a turning point here. He said, I'm not going to do that. And like I said, it's been a long time. I was going around seeing all these different doctors. And finally came to the conclusion that he wanted to try a raw food diet. Ooh, I know raw food diet's so controversial. So that's what this book is about. It's about raw food. And one of the big themes is self-healing. And that, I mean, you can eat supplements, herbs, things like that to help your body, just to remind your body to activate certain functions from certain organs. But ultimately, your body can and will just heal itself if you give it an opportunity to. So it just needs to not be distracted by foods that it aggravated or allergic to it. And just to keep your energy freed up for those functions. So in eating raw food, that's what you're doing. You're just giving the body just absolutely the basics of what it needs to live, and frees up all that energy to just clean and heal. That's the best I understand it anyways. So okay, so one thing about this book, and yes, this book also has, just like the last, some recipes in the back. Does it? Actually, this one does not. Oh, well, it's got lists of foods to eat. So, but anyways, it wasn't too long, this book. It was pretty good. It's got so many testimonials, and like the same with the Eating Alive. Like, I mean, they got pages of testimonials, and you know, that's important. Like, there's so many people that have written this man letters. So the thing that, and I tried to do some raw food, but you know, like, I'm Canadian. I'm up here. It's the winter now, and unfortunately, I also believe in Chinese medicine, where depending on what your body type is and the climate you live in, you need to eat in that way. So it's quite hard to go to work as I do in a labor job and just eat a salad and raw food. Of course, this is just my opinion, and these are just my findings. So anyways, a lot of the people that I watch the YouTube videos, you know, I can think of like about 3 different young women who are very attractive, very like lean, sexy women, and they have raw food videos. They all live in California or Hawaii or Australia, and you know, when I go to hot countries, I can eat raw food. I can eat way more raw food. Maybe I could just completely eat raw food, but like I said, if I'm working outside in the cold and I got to do labor, I do believe I need a different kind of energy from my food. So, great book. Even if you have reservations about raw food, it's still worth a read. And then you could just eat like half raw food or 3/4, or you're going to get something out of it. You don't have to agree with every single word in these books. You just read it and you make your own interpretation. Just take what you want. So coming out of that book review, Self-Healing Colitis and Crohn's, Dr. David Klein, we roll into this one, Papayam. So this woman's name is Julie Daniluk. And so the RHN is like registered health nutritionist, I think. Yeah, pretty sure. So this was called Hot Detox. And actually this woman is also Canadian. She lives in Toronto. So I heard, I follow this podcast, and she was on there. And I don't know if she got Crohn's or colitis or whatever, but she had problems throughout her early, I think like her teenage years or something. And then she went on a trip to Thailand and ate some bad food. Very much like I was on a trip to Costa Rica and ate something I should have not eaten, which was my big turning point into colitis. So anyways, coming back to about the last book, so the Hot Detox. So this is basically the same idea of eating in a way that gives you the most nutrition and is not, aggravating your body and creating extra work for your body, but in a way that you're using cooked food. Okay, so I really like this book, having read that one. Hot Detox, yeah. So that's basically what it is. It just talks again about, it's the same. This one's got a bit more technical jargon, a lot of biological terms, and it gets a bit heavy, which is cool. I know people put a lot of time into their education, but I don't understand every single word and concept in some of these. Anyways, that's cool. I just kind of fast forward through those bits, and so yeah, there's very informational in the beginning, and then the back is full of like really nice recipes with like beautiful pictures, and I kind of did some of them. There's a picture of the lovely Julie Daniluk there, and it's a nice book to look at. It's a visually pleasing book. I'm still flipping. There's so many recipes here I didn't realize. Anyways, I guess quite a bit of it is recipes. So, anyways, I thought this was a kind of an uplifting book and very helpful. So there you go. That's that. This is the more modern book. I think this is only a year or two old, and actually, she wrote one before too. She wrote one before too. That's a few years earlier, and it's more or less, it's a similar type of thing. Recipes in the back. This chart here, it's on my vision board. I really relate to this sort of. It's like a takeoff of Maslow's hierarchy of needs or whatever, and it's got like the food, what she's recommending you eat, and obviously the most is the bottom, and you know what I mean. You're a smart person, you understand. So, anyways, all of these books are about eating anti-inflammatory diets, and because that's what colitis is. Like you've inflamed your colon. You've been introducing things to your system to create inflammation, and how are we supposed to know what is or is not an inflammatory food? So we're looking at the information in these books to know, to sort that out. Okay, so that's my 3 books. I was down in my little book area, and man, I don't keep any books I don't really like, and I've read hundreds of books. Like I read a lot of books, and I just saw these other 2 I just want to mention too. So this is a little bonus thing here. Do you ever buy that Bragg soy sauce or Bragg's apple cider vinegar? Well, this book is from the creators of that. So yeah, I believe these people live in California. Patricia Bragg and Paul C. Bragg, and man, these people are like health gurus. And yeah, they've made their living making those 2 products, natural products with very little ingredients that I just mentioned. And I always wondered when I looked at the bottle, it said they had a book, and there's Paul C. Bragg. He's got the ND and the PhD. So he's clearly an educated man also. And, this one here is just a little bit of everything. Again, it's the same story. You can't just eat anything you want and bog your system down and flood your system with unnatural foods. You have really got to eat a natural, strategic diet. If you want to feel good and look good, you want to be sexy, go do some energy, get your work done quickly, and you got to eat a natural, strategic diet. Anyways, that one there, that one's kind of a little bit of everything. It touches on a little bit of everything. And then the last one, I forgot I even had this, the Nature Doctor. In case you haven't noticed, everything I'm talking about here is natural health. Allopathic medicine, Western medicine, modern medicine, whatever. It's okay. It's saved my life. It's helped me many, many times. But for what I'm trying to do now, as far as I can tell, the key for me is natural medicine. That's where I'm going from here. So that's why I'm advocating all this. So this one here, The Nature Doctor by Dr. Vogel. He was a pretty big deal. At some point, he was like one of the, I don't know if he's a pioneer per se, but I'm pretty sure he's Swiss, isn't he? And he, I don't know if he has a title like an ND after his name or whatever, but he is marketing himself as, the book is The Nature Doctor, A Manual of Traditional and Complementary Medicine. So basically it's like an encyclopedia of, well, all different plants, flowers, herbs, roots, medicines, and you just can read the whole thing as one giant book, which I actually did, or you can look it up like backwards, like you can look at your ailment, like my skin, I have something wrong with my skin, or I have a headache or something, or you can look up, the food or whatever, flower, milk thistle or garlic or, I don't know, ginkgo biloba or something. And yeah, so it's just like just great big fat natural medicine encyclopedia. So there we go, 5 books. That should keep, if you were to go out and get all those, that should keep you busy for at least, probably keep me busy for like, if I read it carefully, 2 months. So if you can get some of these ideas in your head, you'll start to see like some of the same themes occurring in all the same books with just slightly different twists. So there you have it. My 3 books to become educated on how to overcome colitis, Crohn's, IBS, other digestive challenges. So thank you for having me. I like making these videos and I like helping people because I had such a hard time myself. So if you have any questions or comments, and they're not, they're positive, please only positive. Constructive is okay. Post them below. So thanks a lot for tuning in. Ryan Murdoch, Endless Journey. Love you guys. Peace.